You know, taxes have always been too high in Canada, and the Conservative government in Ottawa has made it a focus to reduce the size of government, to reduce the size of the government interfering in your life. We take far too much out of your pocketbooks, and it's been a priority for Finance Minister Jim Flaherty to reduce that. And there's been several areas that we've been able to have tangible reductions in the taxes that government takes in. The most recognizable is we reduced the GST. 3 years ago, if you went to a convenience store, the GST the government of Canada took in was 7 cents. Now it's 5 cents. That was a promise made, and it was a promise that was kept and honored. We've also introduced a $100 check for children under the age of 6. $100 for every child under 6 to help working Canadian families. We also introduced a $500 tax credit for kids that are involved in sports. We want to encourage a healthy population, and if we can give a tax credit to encourage that, that's not only going to help our healthcare system, but it's going to put more money back in your pockets. Those are all things that the Conservative government in Ottawa have done. Not to mention, we reduced income taxes. And there's more to come. The Conservative government has an aggressive plan to reduce taxes over the next 10 years. And on top of that, we are reducing debt at a record amount. You know, when we came into office, the situation was pretty bleak. We had a Canadian debt that was almost $500 billion. Imagine that. A tremendous, tremendous weight we're putting on future generations. The Conservative government has paid down over $30 billion in debt, and that is a historical record. We are making real progress on reducing the Canadian debt, because that's not something that's fair to put on our grandchildren. That's not something fair to put on future generations. It's like going to someone's house and having a giant party and leaving when it's time to clean up. It is a tremendous mess, and if we're going to make sure Canada has a strong economy, there is 2 things we need to recognize. 1, we need to tackle the debt. It is a big problem. And number 2, we are not going to encourage economic growth in this country if we continue to have an albatross of taxes on individuals. If we want to encourage small business growth, it means taxes need to be reduced for small businesses, and Prime Minister Harper did that in his first budget and his second budget. If we want to encourage individuals to spend money and encourage the economy, we need to make sure we don't take all their disposable income. And that's why we've tried to provide tax cuts that are targeted specifically towards middle-class Canadians. And I can tell you with utter confidence that if Prime Minister Harper's return to office, we will continue to make it a priority to reduce taxes for hardworking Canadians. I actually hear about it every Sunday. You know, my grandfather lives on Wellington Street in Barrie and has been a small business owner in Barrie for 60 years. Every Sunday he tells me, "You tell the Prime Minister, Patrick, the taxes are too high," and I promise you, like I promised my grandfather every Sunday night, that we're going to continue to reduce taxes in Ottawa, and you're going to see some new records in tax reduction in the second term of the Stephen Harper Conservative government.